Small progress with home and art. And here we're just looking at a pretty sunset that comes every evening in my backyard. I just had some extra paint left over. I painted this little old bookshelf, and it's really, really old. It had real wood to it. It wasn't pressed board, but it had so many layers of paint over who knows how long that someone had tried to use acetone and sort of wiped off all the old paint, but I could see all the layers and there's big chunks left across the sides. So I just sprayed it down with vinegar and wiped it clean and gave it a good couple coats of this teal. This also was something I got at a yard sale, and it was also a kind of a cherished wood shelf. There were roses painted on it, but I saw how to do that, and I could redo that if I need to. But with a nice color of yellow that was already put on the kitchen wall to the left there, this looks so much smoother. You can see all the beveled edges with the sunlight on it, and the items on the shelf all kind of can match. You can mix and match since there's not multiple colors up there. It's hard to kind of put items on an older wood furniture piece because a lot of the newer day colors don't quite mix with the older wood colors. This is something I noticed. Okay, I think I'm gonna make a short video of some more artwork. My health is kind of tanking at the moment. I've got 2 tumors in my thyroid, and so I've been having lots of problems from that. And everybody wants me to jump through the hoops instead of just treat the problem because the insurance companies are in control of everybody and they decide when you live and die. Okay, so here's a leather purse my cousin Jeremy made. And he did the skill of making it. He carved and painted and, cut and sewed everything. And I still have it because I like my cousin's artwork. He even put my original initials in it, Ginger White. So there we go. Now you know my original initials and my name. Whoop-de-doo. He kind of asked me what I wanted on the leather purse. Because I picked purse. I didn't know what else to pick. I didn't carry knives or anything, so I didn't need a leather pouch for a knife. But I was a purse. He's like, okay. So it's a cute little thing. I mean, it's just got a little knob. I picked the dragon lilies, or the orange tiger lilies. My bad. And orange ones are tiger lilies. And Grandma Opal would have a whole bunch of these, like 6 different kinds, up to 8 different kinds of flowers that were all lilies in her yard. And it was still that way before I left, before I sold the house and moved. So I'm going to draw some of these from my cousin's artwork onto this little wood thing. And then use this dollar store burning tool and not melt my fingers. One time I did melt my finger. I was soldering my truck radio into my cool little pickup truck. And it was winter, like December. And I had hung the soldering tool through my window to hold it next to the glass where nothing would melt. So it's plugged in an extension cord up to the house. And I'm sitting parked on the side of the street. And I reach for the soldering tool because I just now get most of the wires connected and I soldered some of it. So I didn't even look. And I grabbed it. And I don't remember which finger, but it was toast. It was like hard plastic melted flesh. It was awful. I've had all kinds of injuries. I have stories upon stories of stuff that's happened to me. But anyways, so I've worked with stuff like this before. This is actually one of my favorite things to do is to wood burn. I love wood burning, but I never do it. And it's because I'm always busy with everything else, like stuff at the house breaks down. I gotta fix my house. Okay. Well, now I can't get a job. No one will hire me. Well, great. So I gotta make YouTube videos. Well, do artwork and record fixing my house. Well, okay, that doesn't work either. Nobody cares. So anyways, I'm gonna let this heat up, and I'm gonna draw a couple tiger lilies on here because I actually like those flowers. And let's just look at the reference. I think I'll put maybe 2 of them or just 1. You know. Here's a verse for today. Psalms chapter 1. Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. His delight is in the Torah of Yahuwah, and in his Torah he meditates day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that brings forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. That's 1 through 4. Okay, so there. I hope my arm wasn't in the way the entire time. I don't care now. So let's move this over. It's not going to be great lighting. And this tripod is a little bit huge for what I'm doing. There, that should be slightly better. And move this down a little bit more. Okay, and that's the best lighting I got in here, unless I get my butt up and get another light. Get the cord out of the way. So let's see. Is it hot enough? I don't know. Let's start from probably the center stuff. Oh, it is hot. Yes, it is. All right. Okay. Okay, here's the second part of that verse. This is just to get your brain going, so you can kind of hear some scripture and learn from it. The wicked are not so. This is verse 4 in chapter 1. But are like the chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore, the wicked shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For Yahuwah knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked shall perish. So that's giving you an idea. And David wrote these. David wrote the Psalms. And it was during a time when King Saul, the jealous king, who was anointed by the prophet and God, Yahweh, to rule over a certain group for a certain time, completely was jealous and bitter and harassing David, wanting to kill him. Because David was pretty good at everything. And the prophet knew that Saul had turned corrupt, so the prophet had gone out and found David. And David was anointed to be the future king, and Saul got completely jealous, like bitter, crazy, narcissist jealous, as what we would know today. All right. Now, if I find the pliers, I can take off that nub, and there's what it looks like so far. Little dippy, little dotty, but still good. And I could color it, could paint it, and then put a clear coat, high temperature tolerant clear coat on this wood. It's got little feetsies, little foam pad feetsies on it. So I could do that. Yeah, I made the pistol really small. Look how small that is. But oh well. So yeah, there's my little artwork for today. If I put the leaves on, I think it would distract from the beauty of the flower. Although I'm not bad at leaves. But I would like to change the tip. This, yeah, let's drag them up and off. We'll do the opposite of what art teachers tell me. Just for a second. Leading the eye away from the main attraction, which is the flower. And I think I need the smaller one. It is pretty long leaves. This is the longer one. These are pretty intense. Boy, that got chipped. I wonder how that got so chipped. Nope, it's slag. Oh, okay. It's from the cutting press. Yeah. But it's still a little nicked. I think it'd be all right from the dollar store. This one's wider. It's got a wide part to it. I'm not sure I need that wide. This seems already pretty heavy. I think I would need the thinner part, because this is just straight up one sheer skinny blade right there versus that thing. You see the difference between those two? Focus. Thank you. There's a difference. There we go. Now you can see it. And this one I've been using is just a point. Literally just a nub. Okay, so I'll come back in just a little bit. All right. And the more I talk about the truth and what's going on, the more people get really upset and try and stop me. That's the devil. That's the mark of the devil. Anytime you see that, if you're saying, hey, the sky is blue, and the devil fights you over it, says, no, the sky is white. It's clear. It's green. When you can look up and clearly see blue. That type of thing. That's something stupid China would fight you about. Because China would always want to be right. They're brainwashed into thinking they're superior. If you humble yourself and realize you're wrong, you'll have nothing to fight about. Just show each other love and respect. Can't seem to do that. It's too hard. Poor people. I don't understand what's wrong with you. When I was a kid, I wanted to help people. I was really good at helping. Even my abusive mother, like I could help her. And I spent my whole life trying to help her, and that was a nightmare. That was useless. She was doing terrible things. Besides drugs and being a prostitute, she was a child predator. And so I would constantly try to counsel her and teach her right from wrong. And I spent my entire childhood raising my mother, and only to realize she just disrespected me more for doing that and rejected me as her daughter. And so she would manipulate me, my image in town, and destroy my reputation because she felt undermined. Now, that woman just belonged in prison, just to be honest with you. My mother is a monster. But yeah, I spent my whole Christian youth trying to save her soul and to get her to repent. And every time she found one of my friends and pulled them into her room, I got madder and madder. And I'm like, that is the wrath of God. That's exactly what that is. You can tell a counselor, you can tell teachers, you can tell a family, you can tell your friends. No one will listen to you because you are the stupid child. And unfortunately, stupid children are never heard. So that means you're out of luck. You just deal with your mother or you leave your mother. So I left my mother. I left her for the devil. She can stay with the devil. And I left her. And that's final. Nothing I can do. Sometimes you gotta leave those people behind. You know the Lord's not going to accept them in heaven. Sometimes you have to leave them. All right. Did some therapy counseling, ranted a little bit, made a beautiful lily. Satisfied. Praise Yahweh. I'll paint it. Yeah, because this will soak up water anyways. Oh, if I knew where my paints were. So besides the furniture painting and the little art project, I painted the front wall a cobalt blue because for some reason I still love that tone of blue that looks like an ocean almost. And that's just the wall that gets really hot in the summer and the sun blazes through it and kind of blurs out pretty much the ability to see the TV. So I've got curtains up normally, and then I've darkened the wall. And I think that'll help a little bit. Just a real quick peek at some chicken coops I made back in Idaho. I built my own chicken coops, and I did a little doodle of what they would look like. So real quick blueprint. And kind of figured out the top view. There'd be some ventilation, door, window. And I went over what I'd like the front of it to have. A door, some... Oh no, I was thinking about a greenhouse too. That's right. Is this the greenhouse one? Big chicken coop and greenhouse next to each other. One on this side, one on this side. That's right. I tore down a shed. And then this is what I wanted to do. And the small chicken coop, the first one I built was over here. And then I had a tree. I think that's the fig tree I planted there. But this was a plan I had. It never came to fruition, of course, because I ran out of money and I got too tired, and then I had some health issues as usual. So I can only do things a little bit at a time. I did build a standing chicken coop, and this was, yeah, this is that standing chicken coop. It had a big door on it, and it was above ground. Unfortunately, that air breeze made this box so cold. So the breeze of air underneath the chicken coop was bad. And so I had redesigned, where was it? This one. And pulled it across the yard. The thing must have been 100 and some pounds. Pulled it across the yard, lifted it back on these cement blocks, and redesigned it, put it back together. I had to tear it apart to move it. Part of it, and then yeah, it kind of went back together weird, but that's how you do it. If you're making stuff as you go, just off the top of your head. I sort of made plans. The second chicken coop was really cool. It had a lot more going on. Here's some more plans. The coop base, the floor, I kept it lower, and in fact, the second chicken coop, the soil built up all the way up to here. And so that kept this nice and cozy, and the soil and stuff and the poop that would fall down would rot underneath the chicken coop, and that actually created heat. So the second chicken coop, which looked like a kid's playhouse, actually worked a lot better because of that. It was closer to the ground. What's this junk I got in here? Some flowers? Oh yeah, these were the designs for my cabinets in the old house, which it's an okay design, but not it. You know, I don't think it turned out well. Anyways, I tried stuff. I experimented. I did artwork. And I don't mind if someone changed it. It's not the problem. The problem is giving up on trying stuff. That would be the problem. So, greenhouse, where the old shed was, here's some blueprints about the chicken coop and building a new greenhouse by that fence. So I just kind of reminiscing through these little blueprint ideas. Now I'm probably going to end up trying to save these little doodles, but there's no guarantee. Repairing the old shed. I tore that thing completely down. It was rotten all the way through all of these beams. Somehow I climbed up there when everything was rotten. Stuff wasn't even connected to the bottom. Climbed on the roof, ripped off the shingles, tar paper, the OSB boards, and then began disassembling the thing, and pretty soon I pulled it down. But I had plans here. I was going to lift the shed up because it was sinking. I was going to brace it. I was going to go back, replace the wood, but it was literally too far gone. So I gave up on that. Here's some ideas about the old shed turning into a coop or a greenhouse. The problems that the shed had. This was the result of what I had to do. Dump run. So it was bad. There were, 3 different types of critters living in there. So I had a plan. All right, I was going to split the shed down the middle. It would have been really narrow, which is funny. The door to the greenhouse would have been on this side, coming through the tiny gate. I was going to make a really narrow greenhouse, have it all lit up, and put the plants on one side, have the hose go in, little misters, and then a hatch at the top to let that moisture out if it was too much. And then the other side was going to be the chicken coop. So let's see, how was I going to do that? South side, north side. The north side had a door. Yep, next to the hose. This would be towards the house. The greenhouse would enter towards the house. That's weird. Okay. And then it looks like south side facing the old parking area and the tiny gate would have had the chicken coop door. Yeah, I must have swapped that. That is different from this. Then I was going to have a little box on the side of the chicken coop side, and this side would have been clear. And so there's another cute little plan. Yep. So there's just some blueprints. Were cinder blocks $1.60 back then? Good grief. Might have been. Might have been. Oh, it looks like I had some ideas of how to repair that shed and reuse it. Yep, like I said, it was toast. So I hauled that whole thing off to the dump in my trailer. It's pretty comical. That trailer. Let me doodle this real quick. On the back of a RAV4, which, you know, it's a Toyota, a little hatchback. I had a trailer that literally was jacked up like that the entire time I was driving. So I had so much of the shed in there, I couldn't see past. And it was crazy. Just this little RAV4 hauling an entire shed. The shed. Yeah. So that was pretty comical. I looked like an authentic, bona fide hillbilly taking that entire shed to the dump. And there was a lot. I only saved a few boards in the garage. The rest of it was toast. But this is still a good idea. Like even in different climates and temperatures, you could still work with something like this and make it work. It would be narrow unless you get a bigger shed. Have one of those extra wide ones. You can double it up. One side chicken coop, one side greenhouse. And that could be doable. You just have to refurbish the outside to be more useful. The little chicken door there. Box. And then have this side a reflective surface. Have insulation in it. Insulation. Keep the heat definitely between the two of them. Keep the heat out. Like that foam board. That's like 2 inches. It would take up a lot of space, but the foam board. And then the metal reflective foil would also help. 2 layers of that. Just 1 layer, 2 layer. And then have that going around on the inside. Then you'd have to OSB. And I wouldn't do any stick-on tiles. That's a nightmare. Inside of a chicken coop. Don't do that. And then this side you could have drainage. And you could have a little door that would open. You could close it during the high winds or something. And excessive rain. Just go out there and pull the stick back down. And greenhouse, you need a fan so that the winds blow through it and not against the entire shed. The plastic walls would be softer, more easily damaged than that pressed board OSB wall, because that stuff's a lot tougher. That's why buildings stay standing. You can even stucco the dang thing outside. Toughen that puppy up. I don't know if that would stick on an OSB press board wood side, but that's kind of funny to think about that stuccoing it. So this would need to go all the way through this breezeway, either out the top or on the back side. Another vent fan. Some people have these vents that go straight up out the roof. And inside is this little whirligig, and it literally just spins around and lets the heat out. And this actually works quite well. This will take like 30% or more of your heat straight out of a building. So you don't need heat in here if you're in high heat, high desert temperature areas. You need moisture, and you need it to be between 70 degrees to 80, 85 degrees. That's usually where plants love. So that's your temperature goal. Now I'm just ranting. Anyway, Merry Christmas.